turn the radio up for that sweet sound. Hold me close, never let me go. Hello and welcome to the next episode of Matt and Todd Go to the Movies. A special guest, Tim Davis. This is the podcast where all three of us went and saw a movie at our local Regal Cinema Theater. And now we're going to talk about it in Matt's Honda Pilot, in the parking structure right next to the cinema theater. And we're going to talk about such things as, should you see this movie? Should you not see this movie? Should you bring a date? Should you go by yourself? Can you bring your kids? Can you snack, nap, or craft? Can you slack off, or do you need to pay attention? You know, all the stuff, maybe some ups and downs. Spoiler free, of course. We try our best. I am Todd Dover.
And I'm Matt Malloy, and I'm always trying my best. What else could we do? So we're here. We saw a movie again. As always, that's what we do. We see movies, and we talk about it. This movie is called Mickey 17. And we'll get into what that's all about. But Tim, first tell us, is there anyone we might recognize from this film?
There are quite a few recognizable faces and some household names. Our lead, Mickey, is Robert Pattinson, of course, most famous for right now being the current Batman in the DC movie world, although there's all kinds of Batman going on. He was also, of course, famous for Twilight, and he's also more recently been in Tenet and some other movies, but definitely a household name of the bunch. Stephen Yeun shows up in this. He's probably most famous for being Glenn on The Walking Dead. He was also in Jordan Peele's Nope, and he's been around for a while. Toni Collette shows up in this, Australian actress who's been around a long time. A lot of horror movies, Hereditary, and was she in the Fright Night remake, I think, and she's been in a bunch of stuff over the years. She's definitely someone you'd recognize if you've seen her. Mark Ruffalo is in this as some kind of a politician type who definitely seems inspired by current situations. Of course, he's most famous for right now being the Hulk in the MCU, and of course he's been in a ton of things over the years. And I wouldn't say household name, but we know her from our #1 podcast. Naomi Ackie is in this, and she played Whitney Houston in the Whitney Houston movie. And the director of this is Bong Joon-ho, who, of course, famously did Parasite, which we all loved, as well as, I'm not sure everybody saw it, but Snowpiercer was also his. So he's definitely got a distinct style.
I believe, and I could be wrong, but I think one of the side women that pop up,
yes,
the super red-haired, gingered, was Ron Weasley's little sister from the Harry Potter movies.
Oh.
I
did not look that deep.
I could be wrong.
Ginny Weasley?
Yeah, I think so, but at least that's what, when she first popped up, I was like, man, she really looks like that.
I say no.
That woman.
I say no.
Oh, you say no.
I
okay.
see the actress, and I don't believe it was.
Dang it! All right, shut down. At least we fact-checked, though.
Yes.
She's mostly been in British stuff.
Yeah, like
All
Harry
right.
Potter.
Yes.
Okay.
Like British Harry Potter. Well, what's Mickey 17 all about? Well, the setting here is we've got a spaceship that is launching to another planet where people from Earth are going to colonize this planet and make it their new home. And they recruit various people for this. Lots of people are interested in this mission. And one position that our friend Mickey Barnes fills is this thing called expendable, and you learn what that is throughout the course of the movie. You learn, well, pretty quickly actually, you learn that he is someone that they take basically a scan of his body and brain, and they can recreate him and print him out at any time with his memories, and he's the same as when they first scanned him physically. So, so he's expendable, so they make him do all kinds of bad experiments that kill him in the furthering of their mission. Like, they make him go outside and breathe the air so they can see if there's any viruses they need to solve. That's one example. So throughout this movie, we get the idea that, well, we learn about his life. He's in love with someone who stays with him through all his deaths. And they give him a number, and that's where the title of the movie comes in. Mickey 17 is the 17th one. He's died 16 times, and they bring him back. Things get a little more complicated when They print out one thinking that Mickey 17 has died. They print out Mickey 18, and Mickey 17 then comes in from the cold, and now there's 2 of them, which is a big no-no, and
Called multiples.
Multiple violation. So they want to kill them off. In the meantime, they're interacting with an alien species on the planet that looks like a little insect thing, and there's lots of those, and so there's a big showdown at the end between the cult leader of this mission, the 2 Mickeys, and all the bugs. And I won't reveal what that is because we don't do spoilers here. But we don't do spoilers, we don't do multiples.
Yeah.
But Todd, what is your gut reaction to Mickey 17?
Mickey 17. Well, so I think this movie, it's not its fault, but and this is going to sound really weird, I think I would have liked this movie a lot more if I didn't watch the first 2 episodes of Daredevil last night.
Oh, interesting.
And it's just because, and it's not just because of that, but it's like, it's another story about the evil politician that kind of mirrors what we're going through now. And I'm getting a little burnt out on that story. Like, it mirrors life a little too hard right now.
Really plays into it.
Yeah, and like, so, and then there's an aspect, without really doing too many spoilers, or any spoilers at all, there's an aspect of that in Daredevil, because Wilson Fisk is ready for mayor.
Right.
In that show. And it just, like, I don't know, that made it hard for me, but I think the biggest issue I have with this movie is that it had a really hard time finding its tone. It was a little all over the place at times. It certainly had a hard time getting traction for me once it started. I was like in once the movie started, and I was like, this is interesting. And then it was like, it kept flip-flopping between almost philosophical, what do we do with technology when it, crosses ethical borders and stuff like that. And then it was real hokey at times. And it bounced between those 2 aspects a lot. I felt like towards the end, maybe the last half hour, it finally landed on seriousness. We're getting rid of the hokiness. We're nailing down our messages. So I thought the plane landed well, but the first hour, I was just like, maybe it's just me, but I was like, I can't get into it. Like, something's stopping me from getting into this. And it just feels like it's hard because it keeps flip-flopping. I have a hard time tracking what we're doing. That doesn't say I didn't enjoy it or it's not good. It just really had a hard time finding out what movie it wanted to be, I felt. But like I said, I thought it landed the plane pretty well. There's some choices near the end of just like a dream sequence that you're like, whoa, what is happening? Why this has almost nothing to do with the story. Like, we don't know what this means. And so that kind of was a little hiccup. But I did like, there's things to really like about this movie. I like the aspect of where the aliens coming to another world. That's an interesting aspect. Assuming any life that's not like our own is dumb and beneath us is a common theme in some alien movies, and this one kind of addresses that a little bit. And I thought the acting was pretty good. I can't say that I totally agree with Robert Pattinson's choice for his Mickey 17 voice, because it just didn't sound like a real voice to me. Like, it sounded like you could hear him trying to make that voice. Like, it didn't come off to me like someone's just talking. It was like, I'm doing this because and you can hear me trying to do this. And so that was kind of distracting to me, but I felt everyone did their part pretty well. Mark Ruffalo and Toni Collette, yeah. I can't tell if they did really well or they hammed it up so hard.
They were all in either way.
It just, their characters were too weird. It was like everyone plays a straight character except for these 2 characters, and you're like, anytime a scene was going on with them, I'm like, this doesn't fit anything that's happening right now. It's too wonky and out there. So I just think, I think there was some good acting. I think this is visually, I thought this was a really good movie. Like, I really thought a lot of the kind of sets and stuff were really cool on the spaceship. I thought they did really well with that kind of stuff. You know, we get some CGI, and I thought it was, you know, pretty okay. We've kind of seen a stream of movies do kind of bad in the CGI department, so it was nice to not, like, have too many, really any scenes that pointed out to me. I was like, well, that looks like crap. And I do think that the director is a really good director. We've obviously liked previous movies that he's done. You know, I watched it originally when it came out, but I watched Snowpiercer the other night just because it was leaving Netflix. So I was like, I want to get that. So, and you know, he's known for these kind of wonky movies. Like Snowpiercer's a weird one because it's after, like it was a comic book that he adapted. It wasn't like an original story. Yeah, I mean, I think whether or not I would say go see this movie, I'm going to say yes. I think it's good enough and interesting enough to say yes to that. Do I absolutely think it's a necessity? And if you miss out, you're missing out on something truly special? I can't say that. But if you're going to go see the movies, it's not like anything else is out right now that really took my attention and went like, I'd rather see that. So if you're like us and you have to see a movie every week, you might as well go in and see this movie.
We don't have to. We want to.
Yeah, if you're like us and you get to see a movie every week, then go see this movie. It's fine. I just, you know, it's going to get a pretty average, middle of the road, somewhere in there rating for me. Because I think the goods are good, but the bads to me really weigh down my rating of just really feeling like, you know, even an hour into the film, I was just like, what are we doing? Like, what's happening? I'm a little, not confused, but I was like, we really slowed down in the middle of the movie, like really heavily put on the brakes to the story. And it just, you know, I had a hard time with pacing and tone, I feel. So that's going to be me. Tim?
Yeah, I think I'm in a similar frame of mind as you are, Todd. Like I said, this director has done great work before. I rewatched Parasite recently just to kind of refresh myself, and you know, it's just a masterclass in what he usually does right, which is, like you said, tone. He can do and has done shifting tones in a movie in a successful way. And Parasite juggled kind of dark comedy with, you know, class, you know, and stuff like, as in like class division and like, you know, the differences. And Snowpiercer touches on that too,
right?
And like but there's some darkly comic moments, but then there's tension, and then there's, you know, some drama mixed in, and sometimes in the same scene. But he did that well in those two, and I agree. In this one, it was kind of more disjointed, and like I wanted to like things, and I couldn't quite get there. Like you said, Pattinson was distracting in his affectation voice, and I get the idea. Like his voice was kind of supposed to be slimy and meek like him, I guess,
right,
is what they were thinking. But because Mickey 18 spoke a little more forcefully, but I don't know. It was yeah, I don't know where to land either, because like you said, it's not a horrible movie. It's not. And I think instead of doing class division like he's been doing the last two movies, he was going more for like how leaders can lead people the wrong way, and you know, who's really the alien, who's the enemy in a society and all that. Like he was going bigger picture themes on this one. But like you said, I'm not sure he landed the plane on that. And I don't think that subject, like you said, it almost hits too close to home right now. And Ruffalo's performance, I mean, you can't deny that it had some Trumpian affectations, and the way he makes it all about himself and makes sure the cameras are on me, and I'm going to say these crazy things, and my followers will love me no matter what. And it's like, I don't know. I was a little creeped out, and not in the way I think the movie intended. And it's not Ruffalo's fault. I mean, Ruffalo seemed to attack the role, and Colette too. But like you said, it's like they were in a different movie, and maybe that was on purpose. Like they're representing the politicians and the fake people, so to speak, and we're just the rank and file. I don't know, but
it's hard because I feel like you're supposed to root for Mickey.
Yes.
But from the moment he's introduced, he is played and this is his view of himself, is that I'm a nothing, I'm a loser,
I'm not worth anything.
and we don't, you kind of are all on this journey, but you're also kind of like, well, I'm not emotionally invested yet because you keep kind of blocking me from doing that.
And everybody around him's weird too.
And then it's also like there's a point, there's a point where like the colony that they're trying to produce is kind of like a Nazi colony. We want the genetic perfection,
and not subtle either.
And then you're like, okay, should I be rooting for this? Then? Like, am I rooting for this colony to survive? Like, it just was. It was a lot. It was a lot.
Yeah, I think, like you said, like I think what he was trying to get at was a solid foundation, but it didn't. The movie was just too disjointed, and some of the choices he made this time, at least for me as well, didn't work as well. So I'm in that middle of the road camp too, where it's like it was well made. Like you said, I thought the alien design was interesting. I mean, it's nothing we haven't seen before, but like they added a twist to it that made it interesting. And like I said, us being the aliens is always an interesting turn of the usual. But I don't know. I'm with you. It's just kind of, I can't say, oh, go see it now. I think you could wait for streaming and be okay. If you just really like this director's stuff, but I wouldn't say I would follow this. If you're ranking Snowpiercer and Parasite, I definitely put them above this. And I don't know. Like you said, it's like you're torn about it. It's like I didn't sit there going ugh, but I also didn't sit there going this is fascinating. I kind of was like, what? Wait, and those are the sounds you usually want coming out of you. So let's see where Matt falls.
Are you on an island by yourself, Matt?
Well, we'll find out right now.
That's the idea.
So I think I do have similar feelings to both of you about this movie. Things that I did.
I like that.
Things that I did like about it were I liked the world building that they did at the beginning of the movie. Sure. I thought it was interesting. Like, how do you replicate a person? They went into great detail explaining all that stuff.
The good and the bad of it.
That was cool. That was, like, interesting. Some of the stuff on the spaceship was cool. And then, I think it really lost its way in the middle section of the movie. And I would say the biggest flaw to me in this movie was that, and you just touched on this, Todd, is the lack of like caring about the characters.
Yeah.
Like the characters, almost without exception, did not cause any emotion for me. Did not make me root for them. Like maybe the girlfriend character was the best at that, but everyone else, I was just like, I don't really care if you die. I don't really care if everything goes up in flames. It's like whatever.
You're given plenty of people to root for. You want them to die.
Yes.
But then there's almost no counterbalance to it. So you're kind of like, well, we can shove a couple more people into that dying category. Like, I'm not going to care really at this point.
Right. Exactly. And I thought that there were several plot lines in this movie that they could have just gotten rid of and had a tighter film. Like there's this like best friend character of the main character who's just there.
He's like the plot device to get him on the ship.
Yes, and then shows up at random times to do random things that don't really affect the plot all that much.
Correct.
I didn't really like this movie very much. Okay. Parts of it, like I said, were engaging, but I think overall, where I end up is like, meh. I could have skipped this and been perfectly happy. I'm glad to see it. Like we've said, we like the director, and I'm glad to see the effort, but wasn't really that impressed by it. So
sure,
that's what I'll say about that.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
And fair on us.
Well, getting down to the nitty gritty here. How many, let's say, sauces would you give this movie? 0 being the worst because then you have 0 sauces, and what are you gonna dip those nuggets in? You know, what's gonna happen? 5 being the best because then you got variety, you know, plenty of things to dip your nuggets in or whatever you dip in. Could be anything else. Could be carrots. You know, whatever. Mm-hmm. Whatever floats your boat. Matt?
Carrots. Interesting. Well, I'm going to go with 1.9 sauces out of 5. I'm going to say that you don't really need to see this. I didn't really need to see this. But there are plenty of sauces, and I'll give 1.9 of them to this movie.
Tim?
Yeah, I'm a little higher because, like I said, I think the visuals, the cinematography, you know, there's some things in this that were really interesting and kept me from being, like, too out of the movie. But the negatives piled up just a little more, so I'm at a 2.3.
Yeah, I'm not far at all, or I'm right in the mix there. Yeah. I'm at like a 2.1. I was excited for this movie, and I thought there was something here. I thought they could have done something.
Yes.
And
potential was wasted.
Yeah, and that's the sad part about this movie is that, and I agree with Matt. There were a couple of things that if you had just cut for the movie, it would have made it tighter and better. There were things that I was like, that's funny to me, like when they talk about the invention of like, you know, replicating people and cloning them, and then it's immediately into here's how a guy abused that, like, because we all know that's going to happen no matter what, like,
and then it's like, well, let's make sure that never happens on Earth again.
Yeah, there's some very interesting kind of like plays on humanity here, and where we're at as society, and honestly where we could be in the distant, you know, not distant, but the not so distant future. But yeah, I mean, there's definitely a disappointment hanging in the air. And, you know, I feel a little cheated because at one point I thought we were going to get the two Mickeys and the girlfriend. Like, I didn't want an explicit sex scene, but when they were arguing how they were going to work out the future, and it was like, okay, you get up this day, and and then the other woman was like, I'll take this Mickey, you can have... all that sounded more interesting to me than what was going on. I was like, how are you going to make this work? Yeah. What kind of sitcom hijinks are we going to get into here? Oh, man.
I would say those scenes got the most reaction from our audience that was with us.
Well, because the weird thing is that, like, the girl who pitches that she'll just take Mickey 17 and the girlfriend keep you... At one point, you think this is the best character in the movie.
Yes, because she's
wholesome and happy. Yes. And then all of a sudden, it's just like a turn. Not even... It's like a quick flick of a scene. And it's like, well, you can have him. I'll take him. And like, I was like, okay, well, this is weird now, but, you know... You coward! You should have gone all in. I wanted them at least to get it on one time and just like have it out. How are you going to film that? What was going to happen?
Yeah, that's fair.
And it all got ruined at the last second.
Mainly by drugs.
Definitely by drugs.
Yes. Well, any last thoughts?
I will say they are getting really good at the one actor playing two roles and being on the same screen without any real blurring effects or, you know, whatever tech they use now to do that has really come a long way, as we saw with Sonic 3 with Jim Carrey, and, you know, that technology just over the years has really gotten pretty impressive. I mean, even The Flash, which wasn't a great movie, you know, had him two roles there, and it's like the tech at that is just impressive.
Yeah. None of this Parent Trap crap anymore.
Yeah.
You mean twins playing the same character?
Yeah. Not the Lindsay Lohan version.
No, right.
True. She was in the now. Well, that's going to wrap it up for this episode of Matt and Todd Go to the Movies, where we review the movie Mickey 17. And special kind of average rating tonight. We had a 3 equidistant points, which means that we land right in the middle. Okay. We had a 1.9, a 2.3, and a 2.1. Right. So that means we land on the exact middle today. It's 2.1 sauces out of 5, which is below average, and we'd probably say, you know, if you want to watch this, wait till it's on your own TV. And
if you have unlimited and you're looking to fill 3 hours,
yes,
boom, that fits the criteria.
There you go.
If you want a completionist and want to do this director's filmography, sure.
Yes, those are reasons to watch. But we've had plenty.
We've listed all the reasons
there it is.
to not watch.
Well, that's 2 after all.
Yes, we've listed plenty of reasons not to watch as well. So, Anyway, thank you for listening to our podcast, for downloading, subscribing. Keep doing all those things, and we will see you next time.
Da 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 da
Da da
da da da.
da da da.